Welcome to Apex Esports League. We are playing Project Cars 2 on the PS4 tonight, and it is the final round of the 5-round series for the Apex Esports League V8 Supercar Championship. And of course, what better way than to finish the V8 Supercars than of being at the mountains, of course, Bathurst Mount Panorama. Tonight we just have the finale race, so we're heading off into a 15-minute practice. Weather is heavy cloud. We have 15-minute qualifying. Weather is overcast, and the final race is 30 laps, weather is overcast, light rain, medium cloud to light cloud with mandatory pit. So far it is very tight in the championship standings. Sami is only leading the championship coming into the final round by 6 points. And there is a chance for a championship win by our first 4 drivers. So Sami, Corby, Ezanomal and Demon Effects all having a shot at the title. And last week we saw at Circuit of the Americas GP in the sprint race, we had Sami qualify second and take the victory, and also setting fastest lap. And then in the main race we had Rooney 9915 take a clean sweep with qualifying pole, taking the victory and setting the fastest lap. So we'll head over and check out the track. So of course we are in Australia. Game session time will be starting at 9 AM. Track length is 6.21 kilometres and there are 23 turns. And then with some wet conditions coming in later, it will be very crucial to what they decide to do with their pit stops, as it will be probably what determines who will take victory at the mountain tonight. And we do have a full grid, so 16 cars lining up tonight. You can see a Zero already peeling off. Not sure who else we just saw. I think we did just see a blue car peel off. It may have been as a normal. No, I think it's DG. First out on the track. Very keen. Track temperatures are going to be rather cool. As I did just mention before, game session time is 9 AM. Weather is heavy cloud. As you can see, not too much sun shining down through. Track temperatures are probably going to be around the 20 degrees mark. The season is set to summer, so it does allow some decent grip for if drivers are opting to use those harder compound tyres. If you're joining us for the stream, be sure to make yourself known, say hello in the chat. Thanks for Z-Loop for joining into the stream. If you haven't done so yet and you are new to Apex Esports League, be sure to hit that follow button. Oh, Gallon's got a little bit broad coming up through the cutting. Narrowly saves that car before putting into the wall. He did miss Gallon last week, he did miss a round and he's back for the finale. We missed Darksider last week as well. Yes, we did miss Darksider. It will be interesting just to see how the drivers go. We haven't seen any wet conditions, and I have been kind to the league for a little while with not too much rain being thrown in. I think after a few seasons, it wasn't until the Formula Rookies that we ended up throwing some rain in at Monza. As those cars always make things quite interesting for some wet weather. That's especially so in these cars around the mountain. And it's not Bathurst without a little bit of rain. So it seems a little bit broad coming up through McPhillamy. He's still trying to get some heat into those tyres. Nice line down through Skyline. And drivers have got 12 minutes. Simo was expecting to be late, so he's managed to get in time, make the full grid. And don't forget, if you're joining us in the stream, there are some sound effect controls down underneath. You can use those to cheer, boo, and do various sound effects over the stream. Let's have some fun and throw up some good humorous sounds and the likes for your favourite drivers. Rooney 9915 showing some good pace in the races he has been able to manage. He did join this the series quite late. That sees him sitting in 7th position, so still doing quite well considering he didn't get to make the entire series. Demon FX has just exceeded track limits, so we'll make our way down through the list. Refamiliarise ourselves with the liveries of the cars. 30 in the Besmone paintwork. We have a couple of cars still waiting. Demon did exceed track limits, so he's probably took some damage and brought that car in. Coco Dog is coming 11th in the championship. He's got 157 points. He has Mick Cliff and Kakadu, D-Train and Rooney to be able to look at trying to move up some positions in final standings. Last week saw Coco Dog, after qualifying 8th in the sprint, finished in 13th. He qualified 10th in the main race and finished in 9th. First time's coming through on the board, and then down through to Corby. He'll be one to look out for tonight, as he's only trailing behind Sami, the championship leader, by 6 points. And there is huge points up for grabs tonight. A clean sweep will see them get 145 points. Ooh, a bit of wall contact coming into Quarry. That's going to cost him. He'll bring that car in. 0. Currently sitting 5th on the standings board. And penalties in a couple of rounds hindering his points lead on the standings board. Otherwise he would be doing rather well, possibly leading the championship. Unfortunate for him. And over to Sami, our current championship leader. Can he defend the championship and hold them off tonight? We're seeing some blistering times for practice, with game time being early in the morning and those cooler track temperatures already coming through for 159 for Corby. That is blistering quick, and same for 0, 159. Usually seeing things in the 2 minutes is really quick for these cars are on project cars too. It's phenomenal to be seeing the 2 minute mark being broken. If you're getting anywhere around the 206 mark, it is still very quick around here. Seeing times such as this so far, just already in the practice session, it's going to be very interesting. They're heading into qualifying, potentially a little bit cooler track temperatures. Game time session time will be 10 AM and weather is overcast. If they can manage to pull some 159s again. Oh, we've had some more 2 minutes come through. It's Darksider, Sami in the 2 minute mark. D-Train is in the 201s. Mick Cliff also setting in. Oh no, he's just improved that. First off was a 203 on his first out lap. Now shaving off another second. That's a 202.766. 30 coming through with a 204.5. Let's see how he improves this time here. No, it doesn't improve. I don't think he's impressed with that at the moment. Then Coco Dog, which I can't see, sitting at 205. DG coming through with a 209. New drivers yet to set in. I'm not sure if he's practicing some pit stops. As drivers do need to try and practice the pit entry. It is a bit of a snaking entry, and you can easily spin out on approach. You don't need to get onto the anchors until the actual main pit straight. So trying to find a safe way to get onto that entry and then head in is going to be definitely a key factor in ensuring they have a good run here tonight. Going to be interesting just to see how the choices for pit strategy go. weather is synced to race, so that does mean it will progress through all 4 sections of the weather. Just a moment, we've just had to get a time on the board. All very broad, going over the top of Skyline. There's a very quick line across the top of the mountain. And Demon Effects now out on track. This will be his first out lap. We'll be expecting a bit of a slower time, but a 2:01.8, that is very quick indeed. This isn't going to be the best one here. I'm not sure if he's still trying to get some temp into those tyres. There's just under 5 minutes remaining now in the practice session. Corby 3:87 with the quickest time, a 1:59.313. Oh, there's a car backwards. I think that was Gallon backwards on the chase. That was a close call for Corby. And so we have a 0 with the 1:59.851. We'll jump on board for a lap with one of our drivers in a moment. Sami, Darksider and D-Train currently back into the pits. Effects now going across the top of the mountain. Kakadu, you have to get back out on track. Out on track, should I say. As a normal, I think having some troubles getting some times. He hasn't done a lot of practice. We did convince him to cross over to the dark side, into the world of iRacing, so he's been setting up a PC. For that we do run iRacing series on Tuesday nights, which will be changing to Monday nights very shortly. If you do watch these and you are on PC and have iRacing, be sure to check out our social media links down below. It has links to our iRacing League, or you can just search for Apex eSports League on iRacing and then apply to the league. You can approve your membership and hopefully see you on track. I do race in those as well. See who we can jump on board for a lap, who might be going close to wrapping up a lap. Corby's just going up Mountain Straight at the moment from the looks of things. Oh no, that is going down Conrod. Oh, Weaven, we have not seen Weaven. I might jump on board with him as he's going to be coming up close to a... Oh no, he's peeling off. So is Corby, both of them practicing. As you can see here, the entry to pit lane, you can get in pretty quick, so you don't have to get onto the anchors until this point here. I might jump on board for a 0, and especially with him setting 1:59, it'll be very nice to see. So we'll jump over to him very shortly as he ends up coming to wrapping up this lap. We should see one more lap be able to be fit in, as there is 2 minutes remaining of practice session. A lot of engine braking going down dip. Oh, just makes some contact. That was very tight. Nice line through Forest Elbow. Here we go. Oh no, he's brought that in, that's bad luck. Jump on board with Corby. It's going to be a bit of a cooler lap. You can see reaching speeds are about 260 before having to get on the anchors here coming into Quarry. Oh no, this is going to be bad luck to have chosen lap. Will he still finish this lap for some practice, or is he going to bring it in? He's going to continue, that's good. So up through the cutting. Very feathering on the throttle there. There is a very off-camber lip, and then it gets that car into a spin early on the throttle. It's very offline there. As you go wide and then dart straight in between those two curbs. Through Filamy, a very nice line. You want to try and get to that wall as close as possible. A tighter line through Skyline will allow you to get out on that exit curb. Using lots of engine braking, not getting onto the brakes coming down into the S's. Dipper is where you start to see some brake usage happen. A bit of debris scattered around the track. Into Forest Elbow, a very tight line here, so you can get onto that throttle very late coming out. And then force down Conrod. So I think we should see about 280, 290 speed top out. Just shy of 280, and then heavy on the brakes here to get this car straight coming down into the chase, otherwise you will end into a big slip. That rear will just slide out under braking, and then very quick down usually into second gear, and he's going to practice going in. So Murray's corner just up ahead, and at least we'll be able to see just what it does coming into here, so that's where they have to get onto the brakes. So practicing that pit stop. To our championship leader. But do let us know if you think Sami will be able to hold off on the mountain and still be able to maintain the championship. He's a little bit behind the rest of the guys. He's on 326 points. There's a normal. This is sitting on 287 and Demon Effects 283. His biggest threat is going to be Corby. So ensuring he qualifies stronger than Corby and then finishes higher than Corby will ensure he still will be able to maintain the championship. However, if Corby and Sami don't do too well and end up in a bit of an incident and end up finishing towards the back of the field, that's where we could potentially see as a normal and Demon Effects actually manage to steal the championship away from third and fourth position. Anything can happen, and Bathurst is going to be the decider, and it can all change in the blink of an eye here. Oh, very close. And we have practice results. We have 159.313 being set by Corby. He didn't seem to be able to improve that too much more. That was set pretty early on, and he was struggling as we saw in that last lap. Zero very close behind by another half a second. And then throughout the entire grid, we didn't see Kakadu get on track. Gallon 350 not getting a time in as a normal, also having some trouble and setting a 218, but otherwise 208 down to 159. There is not much separating the field at all. So over into 15 minutes of qualifying now. Looks like Cliff, I think, getting out, as well as Azuro. No, it must be D-Train. Also in the same colours. Drivers sharing the same team colours are going to have to... Oh, it looks like... I don't know if that's some lag going on for Gallon. He was mentioning he hopes he doesn't get disconnected. He's just taken a heap of damage. Zero also showing it. That does tend to happen if a bit of clicking goes on in the game with lag and it thinks the car has actually made contact. Yes, that's some huge smashing. If that was the case, it would have been brought in. That's what we're seeing is the result of lag. Kakadu still not getting out, so whether he's not currently there. Cars getting out. Ooh, I think there's Rooney or Coco Dog having some issues in the back there. Ooh, no, that was Rooney by the looks of things. Finding that car quite slippery coming out. Can be very easy to spool up that rear coming out of the pit exit. Especially if you're coming out in first gear and then get onto that throttle. It does tend to start sliding that rear out. There's too much horsepower coming out on cold tyres. Usually second gear coming out of pit exit is usually much safer. There's a normal trying to get some temp into those tyres. It's very cool out there. Kakadu is there and doesn't get dropped out, as we did have one of our reserve drivers, Whacked Will, wanting to get in. Hopefully he does get out, otherwise you'll see him DQ'd for the start of the race. Outlap's done. This will be first timed lap. Zero will be the first one to come across with a time. Okay, some statistics for Zero. So he's taken 2 pole positions this series. Average qualifying position is 4th. He's taken 2 race wins, 2 second places, and average race position is 3. So his average points per race is 34, but that has been hindered by some quite heavy no redress penalties. The first time on the board, a very conservative 2 minutes 37 by Corby. So a lot of time probably being spent getting those tyres up to temp so that you can get a very good lap. With this many cars on the track as well, it's going to not warrant what Corby tends to usually do, is just sort of hold off and towards the back end of the qualifying session to get those real hot times in, as one little mistake will render that lap invalidated, potentially see you back into the pits and having to get back out there and do another 2 laps before you can really actually get a decent lap time on the board. Especially with being caught up on some traffic as well. The guys will be in the party chat, usually talking to each other, saying I'm on a hot one, and they're usually quite courteous and let the guys through. So that will be quite advantageous to Corby going down Conrod. And with, yes, first lap set is a 0 with a 1:59.814. Sami coming in with a 2 minute .745. Some stats for Sami. He's taken 3 pole positions, so his average qualifying position is 3rd. He's had 1 race win, 3 third places, and average race position is 6th. And his averaging points is 41 points per race. Highest average points per race has been Rooney 9915. So that is because he did come in later in the series, a later starter, and then having some very strong results. We did see Corby end up getting a lot closer and actually having a championship lead change midway through the championship after Sami not doing so well in the main race and Corby's finishing quite strong. course, these drivers are actually competing for a prize. There is an Apex Esports League stubby holder up for grabs. We've mixed it up, and usually there's a coffee mug for those. Corby has won himself one of those already, so if he does win again tonight, won't be another mug to the collection, but are now adding a stubby cooler to the mix. There's a normal having a lot better form so far, coming through for 202. Very good times on the board already. There's 8.5 minutes remaining of qualifying. As a normal has had no pole positions. Average qualifying position has been 5th. He's had a race win, taken 2 third places. An average race position is 6th. Averaging 36 points per race. Hey Giddo, thanks for joining us, mate. The main race, it's the only race tonight, is 30 laps, and there is wet weather. We'll be starting overcast, heading into light rain, and then we go from medium cloud to light cloud. So it will moderately start to dry out. And with the weather being synced to race, that rain could come in quite early, or it could come in quite late towards the end of the race. It'll be completely random as to how it portions each weather segment. With the lowest time on the board at the moment, only with a 2:08, but he's still a very quick time around here. Gallen flying up through, gets in just in time. Looks like it's going to be a very quick lap for Gallen. Can he follow it up down through the chase? He's going to have a lot of extra speed to shave off, as you can see that rear left locking up into the chase. Follow through with a nice turn into Murray's corner. Very nice line, and drivers will be able to cut Murray's corner right up over that curb once there is enough rain that it pools there. It's very dangerous coming into there. The car will aquaplane straight into the wall. The drivers, if they're not aware of it, can actually cut that corner and you don't get penalised. The game, once it determines certain areas of the track as being dangerous, you can actually run off track to avoid those sections. D-Train Barbado, who is a weapon around the mountain. When we had the Bathurst Challenge last year, it was D-Train Barbado that came through as the champion for the short series. It was just 3 rounds, all with different situations around the mountain of a whole range of weather conditions. And we even had a shootout qualifier. And then D-Train reigned victorious for that. So well done to D-Train. He will be one to look out for. He wasn't as strong in practice session. However, he is really nailing it now in qualifying. This is going to be a very quick lap by the looks of things for D-Train. I want to actually jump on board with him, just see how he's doing. Very quick, throwing that car down the mountain. Ooh, a little bit of a blockage. That was Simo Simsel. That was blocking that inside section just out of Forest Elbow. Bertie moves over for D-Train. Oh, and he's going to, yes, topping out 292, 293 we just saw. That was very quick, brilliant on the brakes down to the chase. Oh, a little bit of a offline, but he's recovered that nicely. Got 6 litres of fuel in this car. It's nice and light, very nice. That is brilliant through the Murrays. Oh, he improves that time. He just shaved half a second off, I think it was. Let's show what it was before. I'm pretty sure it was a 2 minute .8, and he shaved that down to a 2.3. And we still got 2 in the 159s. He's very quick. There's not much between them before. We saw a 0 come through for the quickest time now. In practice session, Corby had the quickest time, and then a 0 was half a second behind him. I think it was a 159.3 and a 159.8 respectively for the two. Whereas 0 is now doing that, and there's only 0.016 of a second between Corby and a 0. Also, for a longer race over the mountain, qualifying position is also going to be a part of strategy. It is something that even the professional drivers do. So anything can happen. There's probably going to be a couple of pit stops by some drivers. Positioning yourself somewhere on the grid that's going to be less likely involved in an incident at the start. A good strategy, and Kakadu is out on track, so that's a big hit going to Reed. That was quite a hard hit. Still going through anyway. No, actually, I thought it might have been lag for a second. That was quite lucky where he's just spun off. There was a little bit of runoff on track. That was quite lucky for Kakadu. It's car number 37. I think he's running identical car as DG, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Kakadu usually runs a green car. Probably didn't get the change car in time at the start. Yeah, that's right, kiddo. I think he was heading off to the campsite. Probably just pulling up to get a quick cold one on the way past and continue on. Oh, and he's just made error DG on the chase. I think that's Coca Dog just cruising on past there. No, that was Rooney's car. Gallen having some troubles with the car at the moment. I know he's going to be opting to look at starting from the rear of the grid. Well, we've just had DG speeding in pits on pit entry. Not sure if that shows all the drivers on your screen. I can see, yes it does, that's good. So one grid place penalty given to DG. It's unfortunate for him. As Gallen's come through for time on the board. That car's looking very bruised and battered, but it was doing so before it even got out of pit lane. There's some issues with some lag. And we have Corby now coming through with the quickest time again, a 1:59.2, so he's beaten the time that he's set in the practice session. There's 30 seconds remaining. He'll have enough time to get another lap around. Oh, Gallen's just received a grid place penalty as well. Beating in pits, I don't know if that was intentional to ensure he gets sat at the back, but his main goal tonight is to beat his brother. His brother does race in this as well, so some sibling rivalry between the two. Look out for Gallen DG. They'll be battling it around the mountain, and that is qualifying complete. 150 seconds remain. There'll be enough time for these guys to get one more lap in. Yeah, Giddo, they are very quick. I have not seen a 2-minute be broken yet in the times we've done Bathurst in the V8 Supercars. That is flying around here. I think the world record time, I can't remember what was showing up when we quickly looked at the track session at the start, but I think it's about a 1:57. And that is very quick. I know for a good while the quickest time, I think it was the Haynes brothers, were usually alternating between these. We've had the Haynes brothers compete in some of the events that I've ran before around here. I don't think it was when I was doing Apex yet. However, However, you know, they were setting in the 159s that stage, and it's only just in the last year or so that 157, I think, is the world's quickest time. And then, of course, that is in the time trial mode of this game, so that isn't in these current conditions. You have no traffic on track, you have exactly 5 litres of fuel that does not vary. The tyres do not wear, they stay at perfect temperatures the whole way around. So seeing games, and that's at midday too, so game session time started at 10 AM and weather's overcast. So seeing a 159 in these weather conditions is phenomenal. Here comes D-Train wrapping up this lap. Will he improve it? We saw him last time improve that time. The .322. No, he didn't improve it, but that was a very quick lap. Then we have a qualifying session done for the final race. We have Corby 387 starting at the front of the grid, followed by Azuro, Sami, D-Train, Darksider, Demon Effects, Rooney as a Nomal, Coca Dog, Weaven, 777, Bertie, Mickcliffe, Simo, Zimzel. Then we have DGA787, but he will move down a position. So Kakadu will start from 14th, DG starts from 15th, and Gallen is 16th place and has that 1 grid place penalty, so that doesn't take any effect, and that's where he was intending on starting from. That is very quick. There's only 14 seconds separating the field, and we didn't see much separation in the practice. We'll be heading into the final race of the championship. It will be interesting to see how they go into turn 1. There's been a bit of controversy with turn 1 in the last few rounds, with some heavy penalties being given at turn 1, and then are considering looking at changing to some rolling starts just to try and avoid any lag issues coming into turn 1. Hopefully that may be able to fix some things up. But not being overly aggressive into turn 1 is much safer. If Azuro gets a very good jump here, he could end up getting right in front of Corby and then force him to have to yield as he takes line into turn 1. He's also starting from the inside. He's going to be heavily relying on Corby to get a good start here. What else do we have down along that line? Demon Effects is out over there. Zero is usually pretty quick off the mark. Don't forget to use those sound effects down below during the course of the race. Don't forget, if you're new to joining our streams, we stream Thursday nights, 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Located in Australia. Welcome our viewers and drivers to join us from anywhere. Here we go, about to go green for the final race of the championship. And it's green and away we go. Zero and D-Train's off to a brilliant start. They're almost going to both get the jump over Corby, so that's now actually put Sami into a bad position, and he's our championship leader who's needing to defend the title. Zero is blistering ahead. So Sami will need to try and focus his attention onto Corby. He needs to finish ahead of Corby. D-Train getting a brilliant line up Mountain Straight. Corby blocks over into that middle position. I don't know if D-Train pulls in just in time before coming into the quarry. It's going to be there's a little bit of contact in the back. I think that's Coco, Dog and Rooney both involved back onto the bend. Otherwise it looked like a pretty good first turn. Cutting is usually where it starts to come undone second time around. Oh, that's a wall hit coming into Reed Park from D-Train. It's showing a fair bit of visual damage. I don't know how that's going to be affecting him too much, but that's going to be an opportunity for Sami to get around for another position. Oh, a little bit of lag going on for Corby. If that clears up, sometimes first lap can be quite jittery for lag. But he's quickly closing in on Azura. Oh, it looks like Azura got some air. There's a bit of a jump going on there. I'm not sure if that showed on the broadcast screen, but the director's screen, that was a jump. Corby's going to be enjoying a rather nice slipstream here as he chases Azura into the chase. Of course, which is why it is called that. Running some very heavy loads of fuel now, so Corby is all set to be able to last out the 30 laps. They'll just be up to tyres, and they will possibly be in for 2 pit stops. It's only the 1 mandatory pit, however, with the wet conditions, current conditions are overcast. We could see rain come in at any time. A little bit of space between these guys. Sami is really trying to push this car and catch up to D-Train, and D-Train has taken a little bit of damage. The Demon Effects are also running up, but our 2 race leaders have really pushed out quite a good lead. 3.5 seconds from first to third. That is just only after 1 lap. So there's some big pace on these guys right from the start. Be a good option for Azura and Corby to do that as well. Try and put as much gap over these guys before the wet comes in. It'll be interesting to see if these guys do end up deciding to hold off and for how long. Time progression is ×2. Once it does start raining, it will start pooling a lot quicker than what it would normally. Darksider, very quick coming down the S's, right on Demon Effects' tail here. Darksider is a very strong driver around Bathurst as well. There's some very good talent amongst our field here. Oh, that is a very quick line going down the Forest Elbow. He was almost having to dart aside. He's coming in a lot quicker than what Demon Effects was. I think he's going to potentially make a pass on the chase. Corby's still struggling to try and catch that gap up between him and Azura. The D-Train is starting to close in on those two. Demon Effects makes an error, exiting out of the chase. That allows Darksider to make a pass. Down towards the back we have Cokodog and Kakadu. They were some incidents coming up into Quarry at the start of lap 1. That's Kakadu just ahead. Looks like Kakadu's sporting a fair bit of damage. He may have been involved in that incident. He is deciding to block still. Oh, and some lag going on as well. Cokodog backing off. Oh no. I don't think Kakadu did actually run off. I think that was lag. There's some danger there for Kakadu. With other drivers coming around him, it's going to have to be rather cautious just as to where his car position actually really is. Yes, Rooney's already into the pits. I think that was him. We saw him and Cokodog both caught up in that instant start. And Weaven in 13th position at the moment. He's closing in on Simo Simsel. And Gallen, who started at the back of the field, his strategy to start at the back of the grid has paid off, so he's moved up 5 positions already into position 11. We have Darksider now coming to take on Sami, our championship leader. Sami seeming to be taking it rather conservative at the moment. Is probably a good strategy. He just needs to finish strong. With Corby slightly up on points in qualifying, they would be very close on points at this stage. though he's going to have to ensure that Palmy finishes ahead of Corby to defend the championship. And last lap set, Azuro setting a 2:01. This lap just gone around, 2:02. Corby's lap just around a 2:01.906. He's closing in on Azuro. Azuro's going to be feeling a fair bit of heat. Azuro is quite good once he gets ahead and can get into that zone without that pressure. But once he has to start working for it, that's usually when a few mistakes can be made. Corby could potentially be seeing it trying to make a pass. We've had Gallen take a time penalty as well. Probably not going to be a drastic effect on him over the course of 30 laps. So we're now on lap 4 of 30. Corby slipping back now, so sector 1, Azuro a lot quicker. It'd be nice if I actually had proper sector data. It would be interesting to see. Let's just see who is quicker over the mountain. Usually tend to find a lot of drivers are quite quick up the mountain, some are more quick down the mountain. The rest can really nail the Conrod and the chase and catch up a lot of ground there. Corby's close enough to be able to get a fair bit of speed advantage over Azuro. See probably 294 I think before he tops out here. Oh, that is so close, 293, redlining that car. He's managed to be able to keep relatively the same pace to Azuro this lap. D-Train still trying to close that gap in. He's was 3.5 seconds. We've seen him shave it down to 3 seconds. And he's now almost backed out to 4 seconds again. Last lap set. It's about half a second slower by Corby. Here's D-Train. Also sitting at 2:02.141. He's got some quicker pace than Corby at the moment, so we're going to see him slowly catch up to Corby. And then that could be an opportunity for Azuro to then further push that lead out. Darksider is now hot on the tail of Sami. He's closed that gap in pretty quick over the course of that last lap. Don't forget, joining us for the chat, who do you think will win the race tonight? Will it be Sami that wins the championship? Darksider is still struggling to try and close that gap on Sami. Sami not driving as conservative at the moment. Weather still looking quite overcast. Rain holding off. It could hold off for quite a while. We could see 3 weather patterns all happen within 10 laps potentially. They're not going to know when it's going to hit. Darksider still struggling to pull that gap in. Corby's caught back up to Azuro over the mountain. I don't know if that's some lag. Yeah, some lag going on with Azuro at the moment. I think Corby decided to back off a little bit. He's probably seeing Azuro's car dart around a little bit. And that would be risky to make a passing attempt while it's doing it. Yeah, it's jittering quite a fair bit. Lock of that back left by Azuro. It's going to cost him a little bit of time coming on to Mountain Straight. That's a good opportunity now for Corby 387 to cover some ground. Interesting just to see a difference in fuel loads between these two. 90 litres remaining. They're both same fuel loads. Oh, some big lag issues going on. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing on the stream. He's made some wall contact, but I don't think it really has. Oh, this is some very dangerous opportunities for Corby. Usually once we start seeing this much lag, it usually results in a dropout. This could be race ending for Azuro and Corby if Corby makes a move while there's this much lag. Dark side and Sami. No lag issues, nice and smooth cars going down the mountain. They have about 2 seconds to catch up to to D-Train. Dark side, a very nice line coming through Forest Elbow. Sami still manages to pull away quite quickly. And it is full custom setups in this series. Drivers have total control, and I don't know if it's Kakadu. Kakadu taking some big hits. I think that was lag though. It was DG, I think it was, that potentially moved out of the way for these guys to get around. See in the background there, Sami and Darksider, followed by Demon Effect, still trying to catch up to these guys. Azuro's still doing well to hold off Corby for 8-7. We're lap 7 now. We'll check out the rest of the field. Mick Cliff currently sitting in 10th position. Him and Kakadu just about neck and neck for time. Cliff 0.2 of a second quicker. I can see some raindrops on the screen now. Rain is starting to come. Drivers are going to have to consider pitting in for tyres in the next couple of laps. Otherwise it's going to be quite risky. We'll jump over to our race leaders. Yes, there's a bit more rain on top of the mountain. So they're seeing rainfall more so at the top rather than down the bottom. If that is the case, they can probably get away for a couple more laps before needing to get in on those wet tyres. Down to back end. Bertie's in the pits. Not sure if he's taken some damage, so he's probably going to use this opportunity to get on some wets early. Burn out in the pits, getting those fresh tyres nice and warm. Big Cliff really tight behind Kakadu. We then have Gallon 350 sitting in 11th position still. You can see a fair bit more rain starting to fall. Some droplets on the camera. Wipers are on. Fair bit of water falling onto the car. Zero and Corby both peeling into the pits, opting to do that tyre change. It's lap 7. And it'll be interesting just to see how long this rain lasts for. It could only last for a couple of laps, but we could potentially see it for another at least 10 laps. So a lot of cars heading in. Darksider, Demon Effects also peeling in. Sami opting to stay out. The D-Train now leading the race, and Sami is right on the tail of D-Train. If it's reasonably okay out there and they can get some decent time still on these slicks, this could be a good opportunity. And it's getting those wet tyres. They will see some slower lap times. However, if the track's not damp enough yet, the slicks will do alright. Fine, just see how much water's on the track. He is driving rather cautiously. There is a little bit of slip from, look at D-Trumps. They're going to have to pit this lap. This is a bit too cautious here. Going to be a lot of time lost on this lap. It may not have served well. It will not be worth doing another lap. They'll lose a fair bit of lap time, as well as potentially run the risk of an incident. So the rest of the field, Mick Cliff now peeling into the pits. Kakadu, Simo, Simsel, Gallen, DG and Rooney all in the pits. All now out on their wet tyres. So we only have D-Train. Oh yeah, there's D-Trains. Missed the chase. He may have to stay out for another lap. I think Sami's also struggling. They overshot the chase because of the wet. They wouldn't have been able to pull that car up in time. That's unfortunate. So they're going to have to be extra cautious coming to the pit as well. Doesn't want to wear a time penalty here. Well, Coco Dog was still out on licks as well. If Sami can be pretty quick here, he could potentially come out pretty close to Corby. Coming on pit straight now. Can he get away in time? No, he's still getting tyres done. D-Train nice and quick away. Sami's still waiting. And here we go, released, and off he goes. And that's doing the weird floating car. Sami does tend to do that after a pit stop sometimes. So Corby comes out ahead of a 0. So now our race leader, that is not a position that Sami wants to see Corby in. However, there will be another pit stop. Zero's car is looking pretty bruised and battered. I think that is because of lag. Fair few jolts going on in his car. Don't forget to hit that follow button as well if you're joining us for the stream and haven't yet done so. We appreciate the support. And then you will be notified when we go live with our other events. This is the end of the V8 Supercar Championship, but we are starting the next 5-round series next Thursday night, same time. 7:30 PM broadcast starts. That's Australian Eastern Daylight Time. We will be having a time change as Daylight Savings Time ends. So it'll change to Australian Eastern Standard Time. The next series is the Janetta GT5 Challenge. It will be a very interesting series. I think I have set that as default setups for the guys. It'll be purely down to driver skill, which is beneficial for some of the drivers who don't get to do as much practice as the others in setting up their cars. Setups can make a load of difference. Scallon currently in 12th position. He's looking at taking on Kakadu. Simsel and DG in the pits. DG is just on the way out now. Gallen 350 looking at taking on Kakadu to reclaim that position 11. And a wet battle is always exciting to see over the mountain. And it'll be interesting just to see how the last corner for Murray's Corner is. See the amount of water. That's where we saw Sami and D-Train come unstuck, staying out on the slicks. Will they be cutting this corner? How much water is pooling? Yep, so you can see we even cut that corner. Just where is Sami? We'll try and get a spot so we can see how much water is actually in. Let's bring up the best. There's a fair bit of damage showing on poor Rooney's car. Hasn't pulled too much yet. It's not aquaplaning. Be able to cut a little bit of that corner at the moment. Too much in there will be a penalty. Over to our race leader, Corby 387. Currently quickest lap, I think, well, a 2:16.113. Darksider last lap of 2:16.393. Oh, Corby's made a mistake coming into the chase, running off wide. But he's got some time before the Zero catches up. He's got 6 seconds ahead of a Zero. And he has taken some damage, so he's got one headlight showing. So that front left has taken a big hit. Rather cautious coming through that corner. I'm not sure if he is experiencing some suspension issues potentially. It's going to be advantageous to D-Train. Where is Sami now? Sami has slipped back into 7th position. He's going to have to dig deep to be able to have a shot at keeping the championship. As he's now 32 seconds behind Corby. Fair bit of spacing starting to occur. Be interesting to see just who is stronger driving in the wet. Sometimes our quickest drivers that we see usually not so strong in the wet. Cacady's car's looking rather damaged. He's passing Simo Simzel. And right on the tail of Weaven. Dimo's heading into the pits. Both cars avoiding it. There is a fair bit of water pooling there now, so they can cut that corner completely. I think Weaven moved over to the inside to block that inside line. Kakadu went to look for an outside opportunity. A lot more speed coming onto Mountain Straight. Very good corner speed coming out of Hell Corner. Well done, the Kakadu. Oh, this is going to be dangerous in the wet. 2 abreast coming into Quarry. And the Kakadu yielded, giving that position back. It would have been rather slippery coming through there in the wet. Oh, big wall contact coming up the cutting by Kakadu. That's going to cripple his car quite badly. I think he's going to be struggling to get around Weaven. Oh, he's still going to have a crack. Weaven, I think, just gave that position up to him. Not sure if Weaven's also sporting some damage. Nothing too drastic. Last laps, 2:24 and 2:21, 3 seconds apart. Currently in 9th position. So he has no connection issues. He's hot spotting at the moment. We do only have 15 cars. We have lost someone. Oh, his big broad slide. Who have we lost? Simzol. I think we've lost Gallen. Gallen may have disconnected. Yeah, a disconnect by Gallen. That's unfortunate. He was currently sitting in 12th, looking to take on Kakadu. Unfortunate for Gallen. He's taking a break for some racing, but wanted to come back for a crack at the mountain. He was mentioning he hopes his connection can last out. Fortunately, it hasn't. I mean, it's pretty good. We're almost approaching halfway. Usually the mountain has taken a few casualties. Usually tend to see a few retirements by this stage of the race, especially into the wet. It looks like there is some clouds parting now. We're going to see the rain start to stop in the next lap or so. Weather will change to medium cloud and then progress into light cloud. Yes, you can see some sunshine in spots as it's changing over. Zero still needing to dig deep, try and recover this ground over Corby. But all drivers doing remarkably well over the mountain in the wet. As you see how Simo Simsel goes here. Him Aquaplane just managing to hold that car through. Well done. And Corby going rather wide. Not all drivers are aware that you can actually cut that corner. See some drivers we haven't seen for a little bit. Oh, run off by Eza Normal. He was starting to gain some ground up on Demon FX. Coco Dog doing well. His car's just hovering above the tracks. I know it's different to what I'm seeing to the broadcast. I'm actually seeing Coco Dog's car hover above the track. We're in this, just looking over at the other console, and there is water spray, where I'm not getting any water spray, so it's quite interesting when it does that. Seeing floating cars. As a normal and Demon effects. So as a normal making a mistake by the looks of things. We lost some ground. So on to lap 13 now. Corby. Who's he? He's passing Simo, I think. Gets around just in time before making his way down the mountain. Otherwise, there's not too many opportunities to be able to make a pass when you are catching up to some back markers. Otherwise, you usually have to wait until you get through Forest Elbow. You can sometimes make a pass on Forest Elbow. Well done to Simo for allowing him there. And Zero will probably be able to get around down Conrod, but he's sporting a fair bit of damage. He's probably not going to get a lot of speed coming down Conrod. There's still a lot of water on that track, even down Conrod. Not getting a whole lot of speed. He's suffering a bit of aero damage to that front. So his top end speed isn't going to be great, but at least he's got that rear downforce to be able to manage keeping that car straight as he comes under braking into the chase. Oh, he's going to go wide. Simo's peeled right off to let him through. That was nicely done for Simo. Great sportsmanship, mate. And they're completely out of the way, off track for these guys. Quickest last lap is 2:17s, and that's Coco Dog. Oh no, sorry, Rooney setting a 2:15. So that's some pretty good quick time for race pace in the wet. There's 3.5 seconds separating Corby and Azuro. Corby's pretty safe at this stage. Be interesting to see how long the drivers hold off before getting onto the slicks. The track's going to probably stay damp for a little while. That's going to be how much it clears that puddle down there, so you can see a lot more sun starting to shine through. There is still that rainfall as it's transitioning into the medium cloud. Starting to catch some ground on Rooney. I'm not sure if we're even sporting some damage that's slowing him down. Rooney is closing in on Kakadu. You can see the cars darting off down to the middle of the track, going down pit straight. So it tends to be some water pooling on that actual racing line along the right hand wall down pit straight. You do need to start knowing some different lines around the track, and that's usually where a lot of the quicker drivers tend to lose pace once it comes to wet driving, as they're usually not used to getting on different lines. Find some of the slower drivers usually have to move out of the way for race leaders who are actually more used to usually peeling off to the side Rooney gets around Kakadu, nice and clean. Yeah, so those drivers that are used to moving over and taking different lines to allow the quicker drivers through are actually a bit more skilled at taking those other lines that you tend to have to start taking once the wet sets in. Zero's just lost position to D-Train. Zero's pace is very slow, so it was 4 seconds difference between him and D-Train, which is why D-Train just managed to get around. Zero just relinquished that position to him. Zero's possibly going to have to tend to those repairs, otherwise he's going to lose out of a lot more time over the course of another 15 laps. However, he does not want to have to pit in now and tend to it, as he's going to have to re-pit again to get off those wet tyres at some stage. And having 3 pit stops will cost him many positions in the race. Corby still doing quite well out there. D-Train 3 seconds quicker than Corby 387, and when he's only got a lead of 3.7 seconds, that's going to potentially see D-Train at this pace be at the tail of Corby in the next lap or so. Corby is just out there on his own at this stage. No opportunity for any slipstream catching up as well. Over to Bertie. Also taking that inside line down pit straight. So still a bit of water. You can see the rain has stopped. There is no rain falling now. Track will start to dry up. That front bar on Bertie's car is a bit damaged. Hello, Oi Chow. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for jumping in on the chat as well. Yeah, that's right, kiddo. But he needs to stick to the iRacing. He's pretty quick in both. He's having some bad luck with it tonight. He did jump onto the iRacing and have to use a steering wheel instead of the controller that he usually uses. He said he felt very strange and then much preferred the controller. So, but with racing him in our series on the Tuesday nights, he's got some very quick pace on iRacing now, so he's got that up to form very quickly. And over to Sami, our championship leader. He's got a fair bit to try and catch up to Corby, as he's only... Oh, he's made wall contact, so he got stuck in the stream of Normal. And I don't think he incorporated the extra speed he was probably seeing coming into the corner. You don't always notice it, but you start to get a lot more speed coming into there, and you need to be on those brakes a little bit earlier. And even then, the braking doesn't pull you up as quick, as you don't have that air to actually also aid in the braking. You do need to get on the brakes a lot earlier. And first cars peeling into the pits, it is quite an interesting strategy. It's still going to be reasonably damp out on track. Can't see, as we've just gone to Birdie, wanted to see if there is a fair bit of water in Murray's corner still. Don't forget, if you're new to the streams, don't hit that follow button so you get notified when we go live. We're here same time every Thursday night, 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Oh, Corby nearly made a mistake. There's a fair bit of water on that last corner. So I think staying out for a couple more laps on the wets are going to be beneficial, yes. That would be a very hazardous first corner in the wet. And thanks for hitting that follow button, Oi Chow. Gallon 350 sent me a message. Yeah, so he's just had a dropout. He's checked all his connections and everything seems to be okay, but it's still disconnected. He's had a fair bit of bad luck with his connections, and he's even done the hotspottings. That's going to be very frustrating. So D-Train now battling out Corby. What happens when you look down at your phone to quickly check messages from drivers? D-Train and Corby both need to get off these wet tyres at some stage as well. D-Train not even taking the time to turn off the wipers at this stage. There's still a bit of water spray being thrown at all. These two are really fighting and still a lot of pressure on Corby trying to defend those lines from D-Train, and D-Train is a very strong driver around Bathurst. If you do recall our streams from the Bathurst Challenge mid last year, I think it was actually into the lead up to the Bathurst 1000. We did run it. It was 3 rounds, and D-Train carved up very strongly in all of them. Oh, D-Train opts to stay out for another lap on the wets. Cuts that corner. There's a fair bit of pull. Very nice line through Murray's corner. That was well done by D-Train. It's dry enough down pit straight, so we're not seeing them dart into the middle of the track down pit straight. Last lap around, we saw Corby and D-Train rather slippery coming into Hell Corner. So I think this is probably going to be a good strategy for D-Train. So Corby and Coco Dog into the pits. Sami has already pit. He needs to try and get on to Corby. Corby is, oh no, now heading out of the pits. Sami then comes into position 2. This is what Sami needs to be able to maintain the championship win. He's only 6 points ahead of Corby. He has to finish ahead of Corby and the championship is his. D-Train leading the race. Oh, big wall contact, so the car is going to have a fair bit of understeer now that he's still on the wets, as it's reasonably dry at the top of the mountain. It's going to be suffering a fair bit for this lap now, as it's dried up reasonably quick. As I was mentioning before, the time progression is ×2 and the weather is synced to race. It's still a little bit slippery coming down in Forest Elwood. This has been drastic for D-Train. I don't know if it's just him pushing this car too much and the variety of wet to dry sections of track really playing with him. Is he going to be accustomed to try and start taking those drier lines again? However, some sections are still wet and you're not going to be knowing just where. Nice and dry down through the chase. He's going to have to pit in now. Another lap out on these wets is going to be catastrophic for him. Sure what happened with Sami. He must have made a mistake. Oh, he's taken some damage. The Corby's gotten ahead of him. That is unfortunate. He's struggling with that car. I'm sure if there's some steering issues going on for him. See how he tops out. You can see a few puddles on the edges. Yeah, he's about 30 k's less speed down Conrod. He's got to be cautious. There is that puddle there on the outside of the chase. That's going to have cost Sami the championship. He's going to have to come in and get this car fixed. And see, the cloud cover starting to dissipate in the back. There was that large last rain cloud starting to drift off. D-Train's just getting out of the pits as well. It was a little bit of a longer pit stop as he did take that damage. Miguel, thanks for joining the stream. That's some bad luck with the disconnect, mate. Very unfortunate. At this stage, I think it is pretty safe for Corby to potentially be our championship winner. Barmy having that mistake, taking some damage in that last lap. He did manage to use pit strategy as a way to be able to reclaim a spot at the lead in the race, especially after the mistakes from D-Train staying out just for that extra lap on the wet tyres. So unless something drastically goes wrong for Corby, even finishing several positions less, he will have claim to the championship. So the next contender is Ezra Normal and Demon Effects. If a big incident occurs for Corby that takes him out and sees him have to pit, that's where it could lie for Ezra Normal and Demon Effects to have a shot at actually taking the championship. Yeah, he definitely got you there, but way of disconnect is unfortunate. It's a shame you couldn't battle it out for the entire 30 laps. I was hoping to see some good sibling rivalry going on between you and DG Gal. Demon really trying to close that gap in on Ezra Normal. He's got half a second. Demon must have pit just that last lap. Ooh, very quick into the chase, but locked that rear left up on the approach to the apex. That's cost him a bit of time. Ezra Normal getting away a lot quicker out of the chase. Let's just see how much water is still here. A fair bit. Ooh, a little bit slippery. They need to still cut that corner. There is still way too much water, and it will aquaplane. Oh, and we just saw in the background D-Train, I think it might have been Mick Cliff actually. Yes, Mick Cliff getting broad in that puddle. So they still need to be cutting that last corner. Very nice line through Hell Corner for Mick Cliff. Getting away a lot quicker than Darksider. Darksider showing a fair bit of damage. I don't know if he's been in and had that fixed since. That could just be residual visual damage. And poor Sami. Oh, just gets around. I'm not sure if that was Kakadu. Yes. No, sorry. It might have been DG. Gets around him. Sami has got some recovery to do. It's going to be hard to try and get ahead of Corby in 10 laps. He's a minute 28 behind the lead. Zero has come back up through the ranks after some mistakes coming into the pit stop for the wet tyres. He had a fair bit of damage in the wet stint as well, which was costing him a lot of time, and he was just waiting for the conditions to dry up before he could pit. Oh, and that's Mick Cliff again, I think. No, that was D-Train. That was a big spill on Murray's corner. That was the aquaplaning going on. That allowed Coca Dog to move through, so he has a shot at being on the podium. Coca Dog's got 157 points, coming 11th in the championship. Having a podium spot tonight could potentially see him jump up a few spots on the standing. That would be a good outcome. Coca Dog did join in at the start of this series after watching, getting keen for it. If you are new to our streams, you want to get involved in our racing, be sure to head down to the link down below to our Facebook page. And they'll have linked details of how you can actually join our group and get involved in our racing as well. So Coco Dog statistics for this series. He's taken no poles. Average qualifying position is 12th. He hasn't had any spots on the podium. Average race position is 10. A podium finish will be brilliant for Coca Dog, especially at the mountain on the final. That's where the big points are at. Sami still moving up the ranks. Yeah, I'm not sure what else you can do with connection issues like that, Gal. Very strange if you're hotspotting and having modem connection issues still. Probably only just look at doing a reset to the Wi-Fi, but if you're doing wired, I suppose, as well on your PlayStation, I know there are some reset options that will reset the network adapters in the console, so it doesn't do a hard reset on the console. I've done that to refresh connections to the controllers when I've had controller issues quite some time ago. So try some Googling of that and see what happens. There may be some tips. Weaven's in the pits at the moment. Not sure if he's taken damage. Alright, well, lap 22 now. Sami still trying to close that gap on Rooney. He needs to get up as many spots as he can. He did so well to come out towards the front ahead of Corby by means of pit strategy, coming off the wets. Oh, very nice line through Murray's. That's having him right hot on the tail of Rooney. Ooh, going for an inside line into Hell Corner. That was a very close opportunity. No problem, Gal. Hopefully it resolves it for you. Ooh, there's been an incident. I think Darksider may have made contact with Simo Sims. A little quick spin around by Simo. So Mick Cliff just moved through a position. He was behind Darksider, so I don't know if Darksider got caught up in an already spun out car with Simo. D-Train has now got a time infringement penalty of 22 seconds. That's quite a hefty penalty for D-Train. So that's some very excessive speeding in pits. So 20 seconds, it's a drive-through penalty he's going to have to serve here. This will be a drive-through. Unless he's taken some damage. No, he's staying out wide. His pit crew isn't out. He hasn't called them. So currently serving a drive-through penalty. Not sure if he was. He had 2 minutes 58 last lap time. So we probably didn't have the pit limiter on as he came out of the pits. So serving that drive-through penalty hasn't really cost him. However, 22 seconds on the board is going to cost him. That's going to allow Ezra Normal and Demon Effects. They technically have moved up into 4th and 5th. And even Mick Cliff as well. So he's going to lose 3 positions here unless he can try and push out that gap by a few more seconds. So 7 laps now remain. Corby is looking to finish very strong. He's got 27 seconds over Azuro. And Sami, our championship leaders, still looking to cover some big ground unless there's a big accident with Corby or a disconnect. That's the only way we'd see Sami be able to retain the championship. Even then, with Ezet, Nominal and Demon Effects quite towards the top, they could potentially take a spot as well. A little bit of lag going for Ezet. So a bit of darting going around, and we're still the map up. That's it's been. Oh, there's some lag going on by a few drivers here. There's some very strange things going on. I'm not sure if it's showing on the stream, but I am definitely seeing Demon Effects' car was actually flying down the track. He's opted for some wings. Doesn't need to make track contact down the mountain. Sami's recovered another position. Oh, we've just had, looks like a retirement. Yes, Darkside has left the session. Oh, that's a hard hit from Corby. And a decent line down through Forest Elbow. The Zero's recovered a couple of seconds. Some fatigue most likely starting to set in for the drivers as they are approaching 25 laps. Oh, and he's just taken out, I don't know if that's his own bumper. No, it's someone else's bumper that Azura has just torn through. That's probably taken some aero damage to him as he's clipped that as well. Going to be unfortunate. Demon Effects is very quickly closing in on Midcliffe. Car showing a fair bit of damage on my screen, but the broadcast is showing quite clean. We're seeing the lag, that would be what I am seeing. Demon's doing a pretty quick lap. Quickest lap last time around. We're seeing 204s. That's pretty good race pace. 204, 546. Oh no, sorry, 203. Sami quickest out there. That's why we're seeing him move up through the ranks quite quickly. It's unfortunate if he hadn't had that issue with that mistake, taking damage, having to see himself go in for a third pit stop. And with this current pace, Sami definitely would have actually taken victory here tonight. And that would have been a great outcome for him to win a championship. He's had a lot of bad luck in the last couple of series, been taken out a fair bit. Oh, we've just had another loss. Azura has just disconnected. He was coming second. That is fortunate for Coco Dog, who now moves up into second position. This will be a fantastic result for Coco Dog. Coco Dog's fastest lap is a 2:03.598. It's some pretty good pace. Simo Simpson moves out of the way for Coco Dog, or just gets in front. Otherwise that would have slowed his pace down a little bit, but he's got heaps of time. And even if D-Train does get around Coco Dog, he's got that 22-second time penalty. So it's not going to be drastic if it does. It's still a lot of water on Murray's Corner. I think you are right, Gal. Corby has got this one in the bag. He's done a brilliant drive tonight. He's done some very consistent driving throughout the series. The statistics do show that as well. So I can find where he is. So he's had no pole positions, however he took pole tonight. And his average qualifying position is 7th. He's had 2 race wins, and average race position is 5th. And and was averaging 40 points per race. So just keeping consistent is what has managed Corby to maintain those good points. So staying clean, very consistent, and then managing to get the championship win. So a fair bit of spacing from the cars now. Simo is just having to go into the pits again. We did see him turned around in Forest's elbow before. I don't know if he did take some damage. Cliff is starting to close in on Demon Effects, and I think Demon Effects may be sporting a bit of damage. A little bit slippery in Murray's corner. We saw Cliff and D-Train. Weaven's just gone for a big spill in Murray's corner. He's probably, if the cameraman wants to find out where he is, he's probably ran off, yes. So that's a fair bit of water still causing those cars to aquaplane. So now lap 26 on approach for lap 27. Corby's got plenty of time to be able to take it easy over these next few laps. He just needs to keep it clean, not get caught up in anything, not make a mistake. I'm not sure who that was just behind. So there's a bit of a shunt. The DG, no, that was Kakadu getting the shunt by Bertie. Kakadu's tail flapping about. Sami still making his way up through here. Still the quickest out there. Last lap 2:03.447. We've got some time. We'll see who's got the fastest lap of the race. It looks like it's a 2:01.812, and that is Sami. He's in great form, and he's going to be looking at getting around Cliff down Conrad. Oh, Cliff goes off real wide, letting him take the position. That could have ended badly. He could have ended up in a spin after those tyres got off track. Could have seen him diving back across in front of Sami, and that would have been some very bad luck. If there was another probably 10 laps in this race, I think Sami would potentially see himself out the front at this given pace. That is phenomenal driving. Cliff, we just briefly saw going for a spin through Murray's. That water still posing a problem, even though we haven't had any rain for about 10 laps or so now. And then lap 27, Corby is still well and truly out in front. That lead is nearly 35 seconds. You can see his lap pace is starting to drop. He's not really trying to push too hard. Trying to get a fast lap isn't going to be beneficial. It's only just going to open up a big opportunity for a race-ending mistake. Some space. We'll check out all our drivers. MSM's currently 4 laps down. He's been in the pits a few times. He hasn't had too much luck in the race. DG, I think that is D-Train behind him at the moment. Moves over to allow him through. Like he's missing a front bar on the car. Fair bit of steering issues going on for him as well. I think he's just going to try and weather out the damage for the remainder of the race. Currently sitting in 11th position. Also some bad luck for him throughout it. Gal Corby may just try and really push it in for a Brocky. Fastest lap on the last lap. Why not? Damon having some bad luck tonight as well. We just saw him in the pits earlier with some damage having to be fixed, and it looks like he's sporting some damage again. And Sami still climbing up these ranks. He's now looking to take on Demon Effects, as he does need to at least defend his spot on the podium for the championship at this stage. He's only about 49 points behind, or sorry, in front of as a normal. Normal is currently in 4th position. However, with D-Train's penalties, that'll see him moving to 3rd position. He's safe from losing a position to Demon Effects and Sami at this stage. I think he may be safe as long as he doesn't have any incidents in these last laps. He should be safe for taking at least 2nd position. I'm pretty sure to be able to call it now that Corby is our V8 Supercar Championship winner. Gee, Sami has got some brilliant pace going down the mountain at the moment. Jump on board with our leader for a last lap and see if he does Brocky it. Corby currently coming across the top of the mountain on lap 29. Pretty sure we'll see Sami make a pass on Demon Effects. Hopefully we see that just before we cross over for a victory lap with Corby. Fair bit of water there still. Very nice line by Sami. He's really pushing this car. Still quickest laps out there. Well, Rooney's come through for 2:01. About a second quicker than Demon Effects. Demon Effects may give the position up to him. I'm not sure if he's going to defend this line. Keeping an eye on Corby for the lap counter to cross over to 30. Oh, Sami's going to go for an outside pass. No, Demon just pulls back in. This is going to be tight. He's going. Oh, Demon Effects. Big mistake. Sami gets around nice and clean. That was a very costly spot for Demon on the 2nd last lap. Sami moving up. It's not going to be enough points as he's only leading by 6. Corby did take pole. Sami qualified in 4th position. Here we are, Corby out there for Zero's joined back in to be able to watch it. He did get disconnected. Hopefully we should get split data here. I think Corby is actually going to try and rocky it here. He's going a lot quicker than his last laps. He's driving rather conservative. Oh, his best lap for Corby is a 2:01.906. He's a little bit off pace for a 2:01. He can still manage to recover that ground over the mountain though. Very nice line over Skyline down through the S's. No braking, just using that 2nd gear to pull himself through. Well done for Corby. Into 4th, down to 3rd, ready for Forest Elbow. That's a tight line on the throttle. Almost flat foot out. That was a very nice line. No, he's just even a little bit more slow off there, but he's still really pushing this car. He's only got 4 litres worth of fuel left. He's using every bit of fuel for this in this. Don't forget to use those sound controls. Throw some cheers for Corby as he is approaching the finish line to become the Apex Esports League V8 Supercar champion. Another series under the belt for Corby. Congratulations. Oh, DG struggling to get that car done. Well done. Coca Dog's copped a time penalty. That is fine. Minute 30 left to wrap up. Sorry, 2 minutes, that's 130 seconds. If I knew my maths, that would be a lot better. Coco Dog, a spot on the podium. He hasn't done it yet. This is going to be a brilliant race for Coco Dog. Needs to take it easy on these last corner. D-Train's right on his tail, but he doesn't need to be worrying about him. He's got 22-second penalty. Oh, Weaven's doing some spinnies at the finish line. Crosses the line, second place. D-Train in third. Congratulations. I think As a Normal is going to steal third place from D-Train. Crosses into third position. Time penalty loses out for D-Train. Congratulations to As a Normal taking third place in the final race. Sami, a brilliant recovery up into fifth position. Not enough to be able to continue the championship lead. Well done on crossing in fifth. Demon Effects in sixth. Mick Cliff will have time to, or maybe just get this. Looks like he's struggling with the car at the moment. And that car is definitely got some steering issues going on. Looks like he's taken some heavy front left suspension damage. And that car's steering off to the left. He's struggling, but one corner left. Gets it across the line, 20 seconds remaining. He's going to bin the car right at the end. And there we have it, the conclusion of the final round for the V8 Supercar Championship. Corby 387 takes victory, setting enough points to become the series champion. So congratulations to Corby 387. Also on the podium is Coco Dog 4200 taking second place. And As a Normal ending up taking a spot on the podium for third from D-Train's 22-second time penalty. So congratulations to As a Normal. D-Train in fourth, followed by Sami, Demon Effects, Mick Cliff, Rooney 9915, Kakadu 2, Weaven 777, DG 0787, Birdie 1035, Simo Simzel, and of course we did lose Darksider leaving, and we had disconnects with Gallon and Azuro, so unfortunate for those guys. That has been a brilliant series, and of course next week we have a new 5-round series. So we have the Apex Esports League Janetta GT5 Challenge, and from memory I'm pretty sure it is default setups, so it's going to be purely up to drivers, and we will be possibly starting to test out a couple of rolling starts for the sprint races just to see how we go with some of the lag incidents in the first lap. Hopefully that resolves it, but we'll be heading into, for round one of the Janettas is Silverstone International, so it's going to be a very great race to watch. So don't forget to hit that follow button, head to our social media links so you can stay up to date with results, standings and incident reports. And thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you trackside next week.